Hey, hello, and good day. I'm David Boles, and this is Boles.tv. It's BOLES dot television. And we are coming to you live and direct from the east coast of these United States. Well, it's been sort of an eventful morning. Our fire alarm in the building has gone off twice. And when the fire alarm goes off, you're supposed to be notified. Like they make an announcement, they email you, they call, they say, hey, we had an event. This is what happened. We're letting you know. And it happened, about an hour ago. And then they cleared the alarm. And then, about 20 minutes after that, they reignited, whatever, the fire alarm again. And again, no notification. It's a little dismaying when the agreement is they'll let you know what's going on in the building and then they don't. So who knows what's happening? If the fire is, licking at our doors, lapping us up, I don't know. I don't know if it'll go off a third time. I don't know if we're safe in the building because nobody communicates. And what we have here is a failure to communicate. Now, the worst thing is, especially in this building, in our apartment, when we lost one of our things. I don't know why. Let me see what happens. What happened? One of our things got disconnected. And I don't know why. Now we're reconnected. Weird. Don't like it. Not sure what's going on. Got to keep an eye on it. In the middle of the night, when the alarm goes off and the lights flash, it can be hard to sleep because it's a very bright flashing light. Now, sleeping is really super important. And as I have said many times on this show, when I was a young, foolish person in college, I would sleep maybe 4 hours a night. Stay up all day, all night, sleep a couple of hours, get up and go to school, then go to work, and meow, meow. And I could handle it because I would drink like 2 or 3 pots of coffee a day. And when you went to Village Inn, and in the Midwest, especially in Nebraska, Village Inn is a coffee house, diner sort of thing. I think they're all closed now, though. But in some parts of the United States, Village Inn is a pizza parlor. So people who would come and visit us or move to Lincoln, and we'd say, hey, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, let's go to Village Inn. And the out-of-towner would say, okay. And then we'd go and sit down and big, luscious breakfast. And then they'd finally say, well, you know where I'm from. Village Inn is pizza. And I thought it was weird you guys wanted to go have pizza at 6 in the morning, but I'll go along with it. But the thing about Village Inn is they always had a bottomless, not cup of coffee, but a bottomless pot, a bottomless pit of coffee for one price. And you'd be there and you'd get it filled up and filled up and filled up and you could stay there all night. They were open 24 hours a day. And they didn't care if you came at, midnight and stayed until 6 a.m. They didn't care. They would fill up your coffee pot. Would you like something else to eat? I'll have a little pie, I think, at 3 in the morning. And they were very delighted to just have you sit there and eat the whole thing. And we did many nights. It was a wonderful place to go, after a show or when you're, working on a movie, sad and everybody's hungry and where can you go to, feed 10 people that's not going to really break you out. And, for $10, everyone could have a very delicious meal. So as you get older, excuse me, it's very dry in here. As you get older and you discover that it is harder and harder to try to stay healthy, wealthy, wise. You realize that sleep is very important. And if you do any kind of research into sleep studies, you learn that the major mistake that most people make is, first of all, not getting enough sleep. You have to get at least 6 hours, preferably 7. And if you're really dedicated, you'll get 8 hours of sleep. And some people, just because of how their body reacts, need, 9 hours of sleep a night, and maybe sometimes a little bit more. But when you're sleep deprived, it affects how you think. It affects your ability to drive a car. It affects your ability to sit in a class and learn something. It's a big thing. And so you get older and you start shaping up and modifying your behavior so you can be a little more attentive in the world. But the second most important thing in sleep is being in a dark room, followed by sleeping cool. Not necessarily cold, but if you're sleeping hot, you're not going to recover appropriately. And that's easy to do. If you have air conditioning, you turn that on and you'll be okay. But sleeping in a dark room is very difficult in the modern world because you have light leaking from outside unless you have blackout curtains. You have televisions and alarm clocks and phones and doodads and Iggly Blitz. And they all have little lights on them, and they all have so you're creating, even in a room with all the lights off, you still have light pollution bothering your sleep habits. What are you going to do about it? Well, when people sleep on an airplane, they sometimes wear an eye mask. And I have an eye mask that I will share with you. I've had this eye mask for probably 5 years or so. And I put it on every night. This is what it looks like. It's by Manta, M-A-N-T-A. I'll put the link in our Discord chat. But this is not paid advertising. I don't have anything to do with them. They don't have anything to do with me. I'm just sharing what I've learned. And finding the right sleep mask can be very challenging, and this is probably the 4th or 5th one that I tried that I finally stuck with, because I am a side sleeper, so I tend to put a lot of pressure here, which if you put pressure here and you're being covered here, if you go here, then light leaks in, but not with this mask. So this is, I call it an old-fashioned mask. Now this is, we'll see as I flip this around with the eye cups. Right here, they're a little worn because every once in a while you do need to wash this in cold water. And then you just put it on and it's like, here you are. And it's very comfortable. Now, I have a giant head and giant eyes that are sort of widely spaced. And what's great about this is you can just tear it apart and put it back on so it fits the width and the size of your face. Now these cups, eye cups, very soft, mushy, right, are the ones for the giant eyes. I don't think they sell these anymore, but the regular eyes ones, because when you have this on, you want to be able to open your eye because, you're in the middle of the night. You don't want it, when you open your eyes, brushing against your eyelashes. So these are very deep cups, very wide, very big cups, okay, that allow you to open your eyes. Because you wouldn't think, why would you open your eyes with a mask on? And it's just because you do. If you hear something, you feel something, you sense something, your first instinct is not to rip off your mask and see, oh, what is it? Your first instinct is to open your eyes. So with this, you can open your eyes and you're still in complete darkness as far as you know with your eyes. But there's no uncomfortableness, there's no weirdness, there's no freak out like, uh-oh, my eyes are open, but I can't see anything. So I've had this for a long time, and it's starting to fall apart. So I went to my favorite website for Manta, which I'll show you in a minute, and they have a new version of that sleep mask, and it's this one, and it's a beautiful psychedelic purple with the Manta logo on front. You can see through it and everything. Sexy design, big changes. I don't know if you can really see it here, is this strip here of rubberized, that's supposed to like be sort of sticky and stay on the back of your head to keep the mask on, because when you sleep, the mask tends to go up or go down, and then you kind of wake up and your eyes are open and you can see you're in a light leaking room, so you pull it back down, you go back to sleep, you wake up. Yeah. So this is supposed to stop that from happening. Now, I wore this new mask for the first time after washing it last night, and it didn't really make any difference. Moving up or moving down, it just sort of all stayed that way. So here's where it gets really interesting with the new mask. These are the new eye cups, and they're very soft, and they're foamy, but they're covered in like a fabric. This is like a sort of a neoprene thing. And they're big eye cups. They work for my big, ugly, giant face, right? And they're... See, this is just one big circle. This is not a circle. This is, as you can see, it's thin here, and then it goes up here. So this goes on your eye this way. And you can adjust this. You can rip these off, adjust them for your giant face, or put them together. Sometimes you move them up and down. And this was really amazing because it really did block out all the light. So I have to say, my new replacement sleep mask / blindfold really worked super well. I have no complaints about it, and I think it's a perfectly fantastic substitution for what I was using. So here's the website of Manta. Find your perfect mask, Manta Sleep. Find out what your sleep personality says about you. Now, I'm nervous because I didn't even know this was there until I set this up to show you. So if there's a quiz, we have to take it together. Find out what your sleep personality says about you. Huh? Sounds a little threatening. What is your sleep personality? Your sleep type influences many aspects of your life, from your optimal wake time to the best time of day to tackle a giant big project. Take this 2-minute quiz to discover your sleep type and get hand-picked recommendations for sleep tips for your type. I did not take this when I got my replacements. I just looked and picked. Are you a night owl, a sleepyhead, a brain blur sleeper, or something else entirely? Find out by pressing enter. Hi, what can we call you? This is always fun, but we'll say Daver. Okay. Hey, Dave, do you want to fall asleep faster? No, because I do that immediately. Stay asleep throughout the night? Well, yeah. Who would want to wake up? Wake up more well-rested. Okay. Sleep anytime, even during the day when there's light. Sneaky. I'll pick that one. Okay. What is your most concerning sleep issue, Daver? I have trouble falling asleep. Never. I have trouble staying asleep. Never. I have trouble waking up. Never. I feel sleepy way before bedtime. Never. I have a disrupted sleep schedule. Never. I work nights or a combination of nights and days. Yes, but no. None of the above. My sleep is generally good. I would say yes for that one. How often do you sleep poorly, Daver? Once a month, a few nights a week. Most are all nights. Once a month. How much, Daver, sleep do you need to get? How much sleep do you get each night on average, Mr. Daver? 5 hours or fewer, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, more than 8. I will say, for the purposes of this study, between 6 and 7. Yeah. Okay. Hey, what sleep habit best describes you most of the time? I go to bed early and get up early. That is true. I go to bed late and wake up late. Not true. My sleep regimen fluctuates. No. My sleep schedule is disrupted by light, noise, or temperature disturbances. Sometimes. I feel like I can't turn off my brain or fail to stay asleep. No. I feel like I never get enough sleep despite my schedule. No. I have no consistent sleep schedule. That's a problem, but not for me. I need to listen to music in order to fall asleep. No, not for me. I go to bed early and I get up early. Hey, Daver, check any of the following that applies to you. I have sensitivity to light or noise while sleeping. Definitely yes. I need extra help sleeping when I travel. No. I have anxiety or trouble turning off my thoughts in the evening. No. I often start falling asleep before going to bed. Not really. I have trouble waking up. No. I suffer from migraines or headaches. No. I use a CPAP machine. Not yet. I have dry eyes or seasonal allergies. No. My sleep is affected by room temperature. No. I work nights. I am a shift worker. I have sleep schedule changes. No. I go to bed on schedule and wake up bright and early the next day. Yeah. I listen to soundscapes to bedtime to quiet my thoughts. Would opera count as a soundscape? I'll say yes, I do. But I don't use it to fall asleep. I just have it on. All done. Oh, what is this? That looks like a snake. Or the Italian tulip, as they say. All done, getting your results ready. You're almost there. Tap Get My Results to discover your sleep type. Get my results. Enter your email address to access your sleep profile. No, thank you. Get my complete sleep profile. No, thank you. Your sleep type is early bird. It's early mornings and early nights for you. So that was the whole thing. That was not worth our time. So let me show you what I have here. So there's a sound mask that they make, which I guess puts environmental sounds in your ears. It's interesting. I do have a noise machine that I use, but I don't think I want anything that's a noise machine that's like always on my ears like that appears to do. And it sounds clunky and hurtful. Not interested. The Pro Mask. Okay, that's what I have. Sexy, like the pink, orange, purple, whatever it is. Works really well. This is my old friend. And it looks like it has the big eye cups by default. The original. Then they have a weighted mask, which I find very curious. Do you want heavy things pressing on your eyes when you sleep? I would not want that. I don't know who it's for, but obviously it must sell because there you have it. And then we'll go down to the bottom where you see all the beautiful people wearing all the different kind of masks. Oh, even a kid. That's very cute. To see who fits where. Oh, she looks just like she's on an airplane with the old style. I think the new style is really terrific. This one. I love the color. So that is my take on how to get a good night's sleep. It really does start with a cool room. Oh, I hit that wrong button. It starts with a cool room. It starts with going to bed at the same time, blocking out the light pollution, and then most important is knowing who you are and what you're doing, because that's very important. Now we're going to take a brief break and we'll kind of come back and talk about AI again. And we've talked a lot about the writer's strike, the actor's strike, AI, but every day it gets a little more interesting and just a little bit dumber. And on that note, returning in 60 seconds. And hey, we're back from break. I'm David Boles, and this is Boles.tv. Hey, it's BOLES.television. Coming to you live from the East Coast of the United States. And it's hot and really ugly here. And for some reason, I can't see myself on my iPad. I don't know what's happened. I don't know why it's not working. There's an error for some reason. It doesn't make any sense. So I'll see if I can fix it, but I may not be able to. Okay, now it's working. Who knew? So we talked about getting a good night's sleep. Now we're going to dig into the wild world of this writer's strike and actor's strike that is going on the two coasts, California and New York City and Los Angeles. Now, the writers have been on strike, and nobody cares, for about 78 days. Let's give or take a day or two. Since May, they've been out on strike. And you would think that means everything stops, but it doesn't, because like the soap operas that are on every day, they hire scabs. Scabs are writers who are not part of the union but who want a job. And when you're working in that kind of episodic television, like a soap opera, you kind of write, 3 weeks ahead. So they have 3 weeks of scripts that are already written and produced by the good writers who are not the scabs. And then, depending how long the strike goes on for, the scabs will take up the story and, there's what they call a Bible where it's, 10 years out of what happens. And usually it's one person who's responsible for the Bible, and then the writers write to it, but when you're not part of the daily grind of working on a show like that, you really sometimes don't always know where the story's going to go. So if the strike is ever resolved, then the real writers will probably come back and try to have to reset the Bible, reset the storyline that will make sense in a more prolific and professional sense. And another thing I noticed, which is very interesting, because this happened the last time there was a big writer's strike, is CBS is bringing back Big Brother. Now, I used to love that show. And then I stopped liking it because it became a farce unto itself. But Big Brother started during a writer's strike where they needed original content. And they didn't have writers, so they said, well, let's put on a reality show. We don't need script writers for that. And then they would just, run Big Brother originally like 3 nights a week. New, fresh programming, no writers needed. And I just saw an advertisement for Big Brother's back on CBS, because I guess it's been streaming over the top for a while on Paramount Network but now it's back on the regular CBS. And you think, oh, gosh, isn't that interesting? I wonder why. Oh, I know why they're back on TV. Because of the writer's strike. There's no fresh content. So they're going to lower their standards and go back to this awful idea of these people stuck in a house living together. So that's one way to beat a writer's strike. And I tell you, the longer this writer's strike goes, the worse it's going to be for the writers and the actors. And not just because they're not going to be able to pay their bills, but because they are now hyper promoting these producers and entertainment companies to push for hard development of AI. And if they're really smart, they need to, come to a conclusion, an agreement. It's not going to be for 10 years, 7 years, 5 years. Maybe they'll just, give them a 2-year contract and have them work for 2 years, and then they come back, and in 2 years they'll have AI to the place where they can replace writers, actors, directors, everybody. And the sad thing is, I guess, like a year ago or so, the technicians were on strike. People behind the camera who ran the lights, the machinery. They went on strike, and then they got a deal, right? Went back to work. And now they're out of work, even though they have a contract, because they can't work because the writers and the actors are on strike. It really is the summer of labor. And it's a good thing. I'm wearing the shirt. I support it. But I think it's dangerous. I think the longer this goes, the more determined the producers are going to be to come out of this as cheaply as possible and as a shorter term as possible, because they want to move into AI as fast as they possibly can so they don't have to deal with all these temperamental people that they don't want to deal with. And I think the actors know it, and I think the writers know it. I think that's why they're so freaking out. Now, UPS made a deal, because right now, you got to have a person carrying a box. And as the old saying goes, nobody wants to carry a box. That's why they get paid $100,000 a year, whatever. Because no one wants to deliver a box to somebody for a little bit of money. Now they're getting paid, what, $48 an hour, I think? So, good money. I'll take it. So it seems that, the Teamsters won with UPS. And that's smart, because you cannot right now replace a driver and a box carrier with AI. That's not going to happen anytime soon. But creating a script, creating a character, that you can do rather easily with AI, even right now. It's not perfect and it's not beautiful and it's not up to industry standard, but give the industry a year or two and it will be. Now, here's why I don't think it's a really great idea for actors to, write articles and go on television, as Joseph Gordon-Levitt did this morning, to explain, actually to not explain, the dangers of AI when it comes to making movies and television shows. Now, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Third Rock from the Sun star, wrote this, and they read parts of it on the air today, and you could tell it was not written by AI because it was sort of not well written. AI tends to be very perfect, and sometimes you have to filthy it up a little bit to make it sound and feel more realistic, more colloquial, as the kids say. So this is in the Washington Post today. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt, actor, writer, director, and founder of Hit Record. Okay. Actors love residuals. Don't worry. It's not an annoying Hollywood thing like quinoa or crystal healing. I actually do like quinoa. Sorry. Anyway, what are residuals? So residuals, how actors get paid. And in this article, he goes on to explain that, AI takes samples, inspirations from all kinds of different areas, and then puts it together, changes it up, and presents it as a new piece. And he's saying in this article that that's wrong. And he may be right, but as I've said many times on this show, what's the difference between doing that and what a human being does? A human being does exactly the same thing. A human being is raised. A human being watches raised on 1970s television shows and takes all that information and puts it in their brain. It's their experience, it's their reality, and then they create something new based off that previous experience. That's how we live. That is how we work as human beings. But now they're trying to say, oh, well, no. AI is not a person. AI is a machine. Data sets. Well, we have data sets too, and we use them. And nobody's saying, oh, because, you watch the Brady Bunch and Gilligan's Island, and now you have a new show about, a family on an island, you owe them residuals because it's not an original idea. And I would say there are no original ideas in the world anymore. Everything's already been done and thought of 1,000 times. There's no such thing as originality. And to kid yourself to say, oh, I'm original. All the things I come up with are genius. No one but me could think of that way is just complete delusion and not being educated. Because we are all influenced by something. We all come from somewhere. We all have visions of what we want to do and where we want to be. So this Joseph Gordon-Levitt has this idea that, that if they're going to replace actors, that the actors who originated the inspirational data set for the AI movie that uses plots and not images of the actual actor, but of actors, and pay those actors residuals. And then someone on television asked Joseph Gordon-Levitt, how exactly would an AI movie be made to do that? And he didn't have an answer. He looked ridiculous because he doesn't know. All he's doing is extrapolating his idea based on his limited experience with AI. So how are you going to collect all this information and decide who gets paid a residual from AI movies that are based on other movies and what percentages and over what period of time? It's impossible. In theory, it sounds good on paper, but who's going to execute this? You think the big movie companies are going to go through and then go backward in time to AI and say, there's this from that picture, that from this picture, this from that actor, this trait, this eye color, this block of hair, and we put them into a movie, mashed it all up, and created a new character? And you're going to go back and give residuals for that? I mean, it's just ridiculous, and it's never going to happen. It's a non-starter. And if this is what, the actors are trying to push, residuals from AI, it's impossible. It cannot happen. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry to report. Now, speaking of AI, this was a fascinating article published in Nature. I'll put all of these links on our Discord server. What's our Discord server? Hey, here it is. It's Mr. Meow Meow, and it's waiting for you. Yeah. So ChatGPT broke the Turing Test. The race is on for new ways to access AI. Now, what is the Turing Test? The Turing Test is a series of questions that can be asked of an intelligent AI to see if it can fool you into thinking it's a real person. And up until this moment in time, there have been ways to trip up this AI into revealing, hey, I'm not a real person, I'm a bot. Okay, that's what a Turing test is. LLMs, what they're called, large language models like ChatGPT, mimic human chatter, but scientists disagree on their ability to reason. In a test consisting of a series of brightly colored blocks arranged on a screen, most people can spot the connecting patterns. But ChatGPT-4, the most advanced version of the AI system behind the chatbot ChatGPT and the search engine Bing, gets barely 1/3 of the puzzles right in one category of patterns and as little as 3% in another. Okay? And this is, I guess, how they try to trick, evaluate, ChatGPT, other large language models to see if they pass the Turing test. Well, in the past 2 to 3 years, LLMs have blown previous AI systems out of the water in terms of their ability across multiple tasks. They work simply by generating plausible next words. When given an input text based on the statistical correlations between words and billions of online sentences they are trained on. So billions of online sentences, and you want to try to go back and pay people residuals based on that. Wacky. For chatbots built on LLMs, there is an extra element. Human trainers have provided extensive feedback how to tune bots to respond. Broadly speaking, 2 camps of researchers have opposing views about what's going on with LLMs. Some attribute algorithms' achievements to glimmers of reasoning or understanding. Others are much more cautious. There's very good, smart people on all sides. The reason for the split is, according to this article, a lack of conclusive evidence supporting either opinion. There's no Geiger counter. We can point at something and say, beep, 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 yes, you or it are intelligent. The most famous test of machine intelligence has long been the Turing test, proposed by the British mathematician and computing luminary Alan Turing in 1950, when computers were still in their infancy. Turing suggested an assessment that he called the imitation gene game. This was a scenario in which human judges hold short text-based conversations with a hidden computer, an unseen person. Could the judge reliably detect which was the computer? That was a question equivalent to, can machines think? Said Turing. Turing did not specify many details about the scenario, so there's no exact rubric to follow. It was not meant as a literal test that you would actually run on the machine. It was more like a thought experiment. Other researchers agree right now that ChatGPT and other LLMs would probably now pass the popular conception of a Turing test, in that they can fool a lot of people, at least for short conversations. In May, researchers at the company A1 21 labs in Tel Aviv, Israel, reported that more than 1.5 million people had played their online game based on the Turing Test. Players were assigned to chat for 2 minutes, either to another player or to an LLM-powered bot that the researchers had prompted to behave like a person. The players correctly identified bots 60% of the time, while the researchers note is not much better than chance. And here are some of the test results. ChatGPT has passed the bar exam, should do really well in diagnosing strange medical problems that, one mind can't fix or determine, but ChatGPT, you type in all your symptoms, and ChatGPT eventually now, maybe later, will be able to give you an interesting diagnosis that a regular one-minded person could not possibly think of. So this is a really very interesting article. And once, you can't tell if you're talking to a computer or a human being, then what? There are talks right now, people with high blood pressure, you go somewhere, you sit in a machine takes your blood pressure, and the machine asks you a series of questions, and based on your answers, will then prescribe your heart medication to lower your chance for a heart attack. It sounds really very interesting and also slightly scary. And how do you put this machine back in the box? Pandora has been released into the world, and her box is out there among us, treating us, tricking us, writing our soap operas, and then what? It's a very interesting conundrum that we all must face each day of our lives. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with these LLMs and their proprietary thinking processes. I also don't know what's going to happen as we continue to expand our understanding of the world with these strikes where people are not necessarily striking against a company, but they're striking against an inevitable technology from which there will be no escape. Interesting things to think about. I thank you so much for being here. Our time together is over for now. I hope to see you again soon. You know where to find me. Online, everywhere. Come and say hello. Until next time, thank you, be well, and I will see you soon.